Welcome back to the Game Smash Podcast. As always, I'm your host, William Liberty, and with me is...
Fawaz Muhammad Yusuf.
And we got some stuff to talk about today. We got Overwatch Beta returns with new mode and progression system. Bethesda confirms their press conference for E3 2016. Doom is coming in May. Legacy controller support for Street Fighter V. And yeah, and Alex coming, not our Alex, but Alex coming in March. Paragon releases a character ability trailer and the card system. And finally, sad bit news, Gametrailer officially closing down on February 8th, which is just, well, we'll talk about that at the end. But let's talk about what we played this week. I got my hands on XCOM 2. All right, so basically, the story went, it's like I got home with my copy of XCOM 2, right? Mm-hmm. Pre-ordered it, put it in, and I'm like, all right, it's good, everything's great. Immediately, I'm like, shouldn't it be loading in right now? Like, what's going on? And then I see the menu, and it's one of those kind of interesting live menus where it actually shows one of your characters that could possibly be in the game, like your custom character behind a tree or whatever. Okay. And it's just sort of like a live menu, and then there's just something you can select, right? Yeah. Well, that started to boot up, and it's going, and the character's going, like just kind of like chugging, and yeah. I'm like, oh no. So I boot up the game on medium, and it's chugging. The graphics look shitty, and I'm just like, oh no. And I'm like, I put it down to minimal, and it's not even running smooth on minimal. Ooh. So I'm like, and this is what we talked about, I think we mentioned it last year, unfortunately, and this seems to be the case, is that XCOM 2 is very poorly optimized. So less powerful computers can't really run it properly. Oh no. So I was like, no, I can't do this. So I went to Best Buy immediately and was like, where's your best graphics card? I need current gen right now. Bought it, slapped it in my computer. I was like, great, looks fine, runs fine. So it was kind of funny because, like, wow, it's now the most expensive game I've ever purchased because it required me to buy a new graphics card.
Oh my god, how much was the graphics card?
About $280. But it runs so smoothly. And
well, it better run.
Yeah,
smooth.
I know. I was like, it's like, I swear to God, if the game still does not run smoothly, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. So, but then I got started playing it. Everything overall is really good, really intuitive. There's a lot of interesting gameplay mechanics. I like the experimental system with armor and stuff like that, in which you can get items and sort of like little things that you put in the slots, like, you know, first aid kits and whatnot. Yeah. But you never know what you're going to get. So you might be like, you spend 10 days in this proving grounds area and you get, oh, I got freeze rounds, which slow down enemies. Or, oh, I got poison rounds, which poison, certain enemies. The only thing that's a little bit overwhelming is all the stuff in the base. Yeah. Like, managing, because it's a lot of, like, I want to go here and spend a couple days gathering resources or intel or whatever, and then you'll get interrupted, and then you do a mission, and then you come back and you're like, wait, what was I doing? And it's not like in XCOM 1, in which there was like, it was very simple what you need to do. You build satellites, you build upgrades for your guys, and you research shit, right? And that's it. Now it's like, in order to stop the aliens from winning, you have to make contact with other countries. Okay. And that requires intel, which is its own separate resource. Okay. Supplies is basically money in this game, and then the intel is its own thing, and you use it for making contact with other places and buying certain things. So by adding 2 currencies in this game, it makes it a bit complicated. I've gotten used to it now, but when you start out, you're kind of like, whoa, okay. But I still think it's a really fun game. Okay. Really, but that's what I played this week. What about you, Fawaz?
Well, I played The Witcher 3.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think I've almost finished the game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to the whole point of no return spot. Yeah. And I finally found Siri. Yeah. So, you know, it only took me like 8 months. But yeah, I finally found her. She's a little worse for wear, but hey, aren't we all? But Overall, it's been pretty fun. I can't lie. One thing though is that a lot of the I mean, first of all, I still think I've got like 3, maybe 5 hours left.
Yeah,
there's still a decent chunk of game left. But I've gotten to the point in the game where all the decisions that you made, they start
stacking up.
You start to see the results of the decisions that you made, and there's some very bad endings in this game.
Yeah.
So I'm getting kind of worried. I actually took a couple steps back because I made one, because you know they have decisions where you don't have time, right?
Yeah.
Where there's like a time limit for you to make a decision, and I made a decision, and the second I made the decision, I was like, shit.
So
I like loaded a really old game.
Yeah.
And
I've done that before. There's certain games where it's like, oh, I fucked up. Nope.
Yeah. So like I kept playing for a little bit, and then it just kept bothering me, so I loaded up an old game. So I'm gonna have to do some of the old missions again. I'm gonna have to there's actually one mission that I didn't do before the point of no return thing that I think I'm going to go back and do, just because apparently I didn't even know this at the time, but after I completed it, I looked up the guide just to see what the other options I had were. And they were like that. They mentioned that this is one of the most important side missions in the game. So I was like, oh wow, well, good thing I went back to do it.
Yeah.
So there's that. One quick thing. They have this bad habit of stretching out missions. They did it a lot in the main campaign. The side missions in the game are really good, but the main campaign, for example, minor spoilers here. This the part where you find Siri. Like you go up to this place, and you get to this house, and apparently she's in that house. So you knock on the door, and you ask them to let you in, and the people, it's a couple of dwarves, and they're like that, no, they won't let me in unless I help them find their friends, right? And the whole time I'm doing it, I'm like, this is so pointless. This is so completely pointless,
you feel like, why isn't there an option for me to just kick down the door, kill the two dwarves, and find Siri?
Why does this whole exchange even have to happen? It added absolutely nothing.
It feels like just
padding.
Padding
on like an 80-hour long game. I'm like, why are you padding? This game is long enough.
You don't need. Yeah, I found that was the funniest thing from what I was reading reviews about Witcher 3, is that why is it that there's so much padding in this game when it's already a huge game?
It's a huge game. It is a massive game. Like, it was like the Order 1886.
Order needed as much padding as it possibly could.
Yeah, then I'd understand. But this game is like 80 to 100 hours long. So I'm like, why is this padding here? Why this could have just been a cutscene. And then like part of it was that apparently it was supposed to be like an Easter egg, because after you find the dwarf, there's 7 of them. And and then but I'm like, I don't care right now. I'm trying to find Siri. Sure, if you want to put this Easter egg in like a side mission, then sure. But like,
no, I see what you mean.
Exactly. So but overall, though, I really did enjoy the game, and I do like the fact that you make decisions and you see the ramifications. For example, one of the final missions, you like it's like a big battle, right, between you and the Wild Hunt, and you recruit as many people as you can.
Right.
And you don't have to recruit all those people, right?
Yeah, you can choose who you want.
Yeah, no, you can just not recruit anybody.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
But then I'm at the battle, and I'm like, holy shit. I don't know how I would have done this if I hadn't recruited all these people. There's actually one scene where one of my friends, he almost dies, and then this other character who I recruited now saves him. I'm like, I wonder how that would have played out if she wasn't here.
That sounds very like Mass Effect 2-ish.
I was thinking.
Yeah, because it's like that was actually one of my favorite parts about Mass Effect 2, is that you see all the different like characters that save each other and whatnot, and it really does sort of come together very well near the end. But good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm gonna try and finish it before Tuesday, because a game that we'll get to later on in this podcast is coming out on Tuesday.
That's true.
That's pretty much all I'm going to be doing next week. But yeah, that's what I was playing.
Nice. All right, so let's get into some news. So Overwatch, the beta returns, a whole bunch of new stuff.
Yeah, so so for the new mode is called Command. It's like it's your basic there's a spot on the map that that you go into, you capture it, and then you hold on to it I think every second you hold on to it gives you 1 point, and the first team to make it to 100 points.
It seems like a very capture and hold kind.
Yeah,
of
it's a capture and hold type of mode. It's I watched a little bit of gameplay. It looks really really fun. I saw it because if like because I've seen numerous times where a team is at 99%, and then the other team makes a rush, they break it. And then they hold on to it, and then both teams are at 99. And when that happens, I think you go into overtime, and it was just some.
And that's when shit gets real.
Yeah. It was some really really exciting stuff, some clutch plays, and I think a lot of people are really gonna enjoy that mode. The other thing that they added was a progression system. So it's your basic. It's there's no individual character levels.
Okay.
It's mainly you have a player level. Every time you level up, you get what's called a loot crate, right?
Okay.
And then the loot crates work pretty much exactly like Hearthstone packs. You get 4 items in it, one of which is guaranteed to be rare. Okay. And then the items range from simple like spray paints, because they have these things called spray paints. Every character has a unique paint, and it's like a basic things you can just like paint something in an area.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's a spray. Okay, that's
it's a spray. But then they also have like different emotes, and then more interesting stuff like color palettes, palette swaps.
Yeah.
And then the real juicy stuff are the costumes.
Yeah.
Every character right now, well, say for a few characters, every character now has at least one, and there are some really nice costumes.
Yeah, who's the dual wielding guy with the freaking guitar and the pistols?
There's what's his name again? It's
Reinhardt with his badass armor.
Reinhardt's got the badass armor. Reaper becomes a mariachi. What's his name? Zetiana becomes Ra. There are some really nice costumes. One other thing is that if you get any duplicates, it pretty much works like Hearthstone. Where if you get a duplicate, you get a credit. And then you can use that credit to just buy exactly what you want. And the more expensive stuff obviously requires more credits.
It's funny. It just seems like Blizzard it seems like this card system that they started with Hearthstone now. It's like I didn't expect it to be in Overwatch, but now I kind of see it clearly worked for them in Hearthstone.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, I still think it's because you only get 1 pack for every level. There's no level cap though, so you can just keep getting packs.
Yeah.
However, I do feel like as of right now, it's very difficult to get good loot. With that said, I watched a decent number of streams last night, and almost every single stream I saw had somebody in a
some sort of costume.
In a costume.
Or like a color palette swap.
Yeah. Well, no, definitely. Every game I saw had someone in a color palette swap, but most of the games I saw had someone in a costume.
Honestly, like that's at the very least, I'm glad that getting palette swaps is easy, because that's just like a very simple thing. Like, and that's nice. It's like I don't want my character to be like blue armor. I want red armor or something like that.
There's some cool palette swaps. Actually, Reinhardt has one palette swap where he isn't wearing his helmet anymore. There's some really what's her name? Farah, the flying chick. She has a palette because her helmet is like an eagle helmet. She has one palette swap where it becomes like a wolf helmet. So
that's sick.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff, and looking forward to. But props to them for implementing a decent progression system right now. We'll see how.
Well, we'll see how it goes. And, but overall, good stuff. Beta's still kicking. And we'll see what comes on from there. Next on our list, Bethesda confirms press conference E3 2016.
How do you feel about this?
I honestly expected them to do this, kinda, because the last one was such a big success. But it's almost like, what are they gonna show? Like, is it gonna be like, Doom? I would assume that we're definitely probably gonna see Fallout 4 DLC. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure we're gonna see that. We're probably gonna see more gameplay for Doom, and especially Dishonored. Like, we haven't really seen much of that. So it's not like, I don't feel like they don't have as much stuff to show. It's just, it'll be interesting. Some people have said, Elder Scrolls 6, and I'm like, no, like it's too early. Soon. It's too soon for an Elder Scrolls 6, and especially since like we technically had 2 Elder Scrolls games back to back, Skyrim and then online. Yeah. So I feel like Elder Scrolls needs to take a break. Let them focus on some other IPs and then come back later. Especially since there's still people who are still salty about like the graphics in 4, like Fallout 4.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have anything against the graphics in Fallout 4, but I can understand why some people like they wanted like jaw-dropping graphics,
like Skyrim type.
Yeah.
For his time. But no, the reason why I was surprised was that the press conference last year was a big success, but that was because one, we hadn't seen any Doom gameplay at the time. So they premiered Doom gameplay at the press conference. By the time this press conference comes along, Doom will be out. Because we're going to get to that a little bit later. By the time this press conference comes around, Doom will be out. Fallout, they showed Fallout gameplay there.
They had to.
Fallout will be out by then. They announced Dishonored 2 at the press conference. They I guess those are the main things, but like none of that is applicable anymore, right? So they might announce maybe some Doom DLC, definitely some Fallout DLC, and for sure Dishonored 2 is going to be like the main game. But like the reason why a lot of people are speculating that maybe the Elder Scrolls 6 is coming is because if they don't announce the Elder Scrolls 6, there's really nothing at that press conference
that's a surprise.
That's worthwhile,
Unless they announce like a completely new IP.
I mean, that is possible.
Yeah.
There is no there are no laws against Bethesda creating new IPs.
Especially since Bethesda has had now, I find it's going out of their way to try and do new stuff. Like, even though some of it doesn't work out, like The Evil Within, but at least like they're trying to do new stuff.
They are trying to do a lot of new stuff. Sorry?
No.
One thing is that just because they announced the Elder Scrolls 6 doesn't mean that they're going to do what they did with Fallout 4 and have it launch in the fall, right? So because if you think about it, the Elder Scrolls 5 came out in 2006, if I'm correct.
Elder Scrolls 5 or 4?
Oblivion.
Sorry, my bad. Because it's like Skyrim in 2006. Jesus Christ.
My bad. Oblivion came out in 2006.
Probably around that,
Yeah, Fallout 3 came out in 2008.
Oh yeah, Fallout 3, and then Skyrim came out in 2011.
Yeah. So I mean, but like 06, 08, right? So Fallout 4 came out last year, 2014. They can
2015.
Thank you. 2015. They can announce the Elder Scrolls in 2016 for a 2017 release, right?
Yeah,
that is possible.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I wouldn't bet money on there being.
Honestly, I don't even want to. Even though I'd be like, oh, a new Elder Scrolls, like a new single player Elder Scrolls, I'd be really excited for. But even then, I'd be like, it's way too early. Like it's just. Like it's way too early. Like as much as I enjoyed Skyrim, like Skyrim's a awesome game. I don't want to see an Elder Scrolls 6, at least for a little while longer.
Okay.
Like even a reveal. But we were talking about Doom. Doom is actually was revealed and coming out in May.
Yeah, May 13th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, May 13th.
Yeah, it's
we're all about the accuracy here.
All about the accuracy.
Fallout 4 came out in 2014. It came out a lot earlier than people expected.
Yeah. So Doom's coming out in May, and they released a little bit of a story trailer. So it's gonna be another reboot, which is funny because this is the 4th Doom, and this is the 3rd. This is technically Doom 4, right?
Yeah.
But this is going to be the 3rd Doom that reboots the story.
Yeah, I find that really bizarre. Well, but it's like
at some point, let's move past the invasion of Mars from hell.
I think it's just because at this point there's just a certain level of nostalgia for people. So it's like if it's not on Mars, there's gonna be people that are mad.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of like it's weird that it's like we're just gonna be telling, for better or worse, the same kind of story every time.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I don't think many people are playing Doom for the story. Even though this is just another reboot of the same thing.
Yeah,
whatever.
Honestly, whatever. I just found it funny.
Yeah.
But they released a story trailer, and the game just keeps looking better and better. You know, it's really going out of its way to be the anti-modern first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Just like everything about it goes against what we've come to expect from FPSs in the modern day, and I'm really looking forward to giving this game a shot when it launches. I also want to give them props for where they're adapting of the demons.
Yeah,
because like I played Doom. Doom 2 was one of the first, like most people, Doom 2 was one of the first video games that I played. Yeah. But it's been like 20 years. But I was looking at this trailer, and I could, even the E3 trailer, and I could recognize all the demons. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't remember the names, but I could remember. I was like, okay, this is that fat dude that shoots me with the green stuff. Yeah, this is that thing that spits little demons out of its mouth. You know, I could spot most of the demons just so I gotta give them props, you know. And this is what I was telling one of my friends, was that it looks like Doom. It looks like a modern version of Doom, which is all people want when a game gets adapted for the modern.
It's a really pretty good looking version of Doom.
Yeah. One thing of note though is that they also revealed the box art. Have you seen it yet, Tanner?
Oh god, I heard so many people losing their shit over the box art.
It's so
bad. It's funny because it reminds me of the same issue that people had with the BioShock Infinite box art.
BioShock Infinite one was even better.
Yeah, you know what? You're right, because it's the problem with this box art is that it's just
so generic.
It's just generic. It's generic Space Marine number 627. Like we have so many box arts with generic Space Marines
just regular Marines.
Or regular Marines. There was actually one person that pointed out that the collector's edition has a much better box art. It's that one guy with the weird missile thing on his back, and his eyes are right around where the O's would be.
Oh, okay.
So I've heard that one looks a lot better, like, because it's a demon, like, and there's not, you know, demons are a little bit more, less of them end up on cover arts.
Yeah.
So I feel like, why didn't they just make the collector's edition the main, you know, the main one? Because it's generic Space Marine. It's just like, come on, guys, like there's so many different ways you could have done this.
Yeah, like because the first time I saw the box art was on Conan O'Brien, right? He was doing that his
his Clueless Gamer thing.
Yeah, his Clueless
that's
Gamer
where it got
thing.
revealed, I think.
Yeah, and I saw it, and I was like, no, that has to be a placeholder, because it was so. It just completely lacked any kind of creativity. Mm-hmm. Kotaku actually had this really cool, or maybe it wasn't Kotaku, some website, had this really cool thing where they took the box art and they replaced the text. They took off the Doom and they replaced it with Modern Warfare, Halo, Gears of War, and it just fit. Like there was one that the Halo one, I saw it and I thought it was the Halo box art. Yeah. It is so, I mean, granted, this is such a minor thing in the grand scheme of things.
Grand scheme of things.
Because, I mean, I'd rather, you know, the game, like I said, the game looks really good. Yeah. So, like, this is just
nitpicking,
This is just nitpicking. Yeah. But I was just so taken aback because they've shown so much care in every other aspect of the game's development that it surprised me how little.
Yeah, it might be an advertising thing, because I heard when people were talking about the BioShock Infinite cover art, that the people went out and said, like, look guys, we have done studies and advertising tells us that generic white guy with gun unfortunately sells. Like, apparently is more attractive to, like, the generic gamer. It's like, oh, generic white guy with gun, I'm gonna pick up this game. So it's like, you know, it's one of those weird things where it's like they were explaining, like, this is why we did it, but there was also like, well, why didn't you do this cover art? Like, when I got the BioShock, when I got my copy, they had a reversible, which was like this cool, like, communist kind of, like, red and white kind of stylized cover. I was like, flip, improved, better, fixed. So I'm just like, they could have done that, but I can understand why, because there's weird advertising things where it's like you have to think about, but still, like, it's, they would have went with the demon. They should have went with the demon.
Yeah, like, I can't, because I did not major in advertising, but I cannot imagine that box art is, because I mean, what you want to do with advertising is you want to stand out, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I think what you want to do is stand out, and that box art does not stand out. It blends in.
It blends in, which is
not what you want to do. But oh well, whatever. Doom's still looking good. Yeah. So yeah, moving on from one bit of good news to another.
Fawaz was so happy about this one.
This was the like, oh my god, because I also got this bit of news on my birthday, so I was like, oh my god, Capcom. Oh, sorry, let me actually. Yeah. The news I'm talking about is that Street Fighter V is going to have legacy controller support, which which pretty much means that my PlayStation 3 Fight Stick is going to be compatible with Street Fighter V.
So there you go. I'm
not gonna have to pull a Tanner and spend $200 in addition to the game that I bought just to play it, which was what I was going to have to do because the cheapest PS4 stick that I could find is $189.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's not even the worst. Yo, Mad Catz have some that were like $350 plus ship plus tax. Tax.
Fucking, this is why I don't have a stick. They're too expensive for me.
They're very expensive. They are an investment. I mean, the thing about sticks though is that if you love playing fighting games, it is I recommend.
Yeah, like one. If you're committed to fighting games, you're gonna have to get a stick eventually.
Yeah, because here's the other thing is that I didn't even have to buy a new stick, right? Like I could have just modded my stick. They've released a motherboard just came out recently that costs about $89. Yeah, and you can mod it into your stick and make it compatible with the PS4 and the Xbox One and PC.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty sick.
So like that's the beauty of that's one of the really good things about fight sticks is that they're timeless, right? You can just buy one fight stick and never have to buy another one. The issue is that I'm really lazy and I don't know how to mod, so but I'm probably going to cuz Guilty Gear is coming out in June and that's probably not going to have legacy support. So eventually I'm going to invest in a PS4 stick. So I'm thinking I'm probably just going to mod my current stick. But this is such good news.
This is good news. Especially for a lot of people who it's like there are a lot of people who came from Street Fighter 4, they got their PS3 stick and they're just like, oh, I don't have to buy one. It's like, no, you don't have to.
Yeah.
So that's really, really good for a lot of people.
One small bit of I don't want to say this is funny news because it involved people losing their jobs, but it was like dark humor type of funny was that on the day that Capcom announced this, Mad Catz announced that like a bunch of people in Mad Catz stepped down from their position, and people were like, "Oh no, the stock was falling." A bunch of people went out and canceled their stick pre-orders when this news came out.
Oh no, this is why they have to keep shit like this quiet because it's just
Yeah.
You know what that makes me think? That makes me think when they were posting like Wii U sales, like Nintendo was doing that. It's like, why are you doing this? You are just making it so much worse for yourself.
Oh my god, that's funny. Oh, one other bit of news before I forget. Alex, they've also announced who the first DLC character is going to be. It's going to be Alex from Street Fighter 3, and he's coming in March. And they also they outlined their DLC schedule. There's going to be a new DLC character every single month. Yeah. Except for June when the story DLC comes out. So between now and September, there's going to be one character every single month. And people are speculating that since Alex and Urien were the two most requested characters. And since Alex is first, people are speculating that Urien is going to be last.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you bookend it with the two most popular. Right. So people are saying that Urien is we're probably going to have to wait till September for Urien, which kind of sucks for the Urien fans, but whatever.
I mean, Fawaz, you still got Chun-Li. So I think all's right with the world.
All's right with the world. And they also announced that they're releasing, because they released a trailer a little while back showing all the different modes in the game. One noticeable omission was challenge mode. The mode where they have like a bunch of combos for the characters. It was missing. So my first thought was, okay, because in the trailer they said that there's going to be more modes coming and they're going to be free. So they announced the challenge mode is also coming in March, and the online store is launching in March. Yeah, so and then when the online store launches, they're also going to start launching the daily challenges to help you build up your fight money. So overall, things are starting to take shape, and apparently Alex is going to cost 100,000 fight money. Which we can't judge until we know, because if you gain like 10,000 fight money for every single win, then 100,000 is nothing. But if you gain like 5 fight money for every 5 ranked wins,
then it's gonna be like
so
then that's gonna be rough.
So we'll wait to see how quickly we can generate
before we give our final verdict.
But things are finally starting.
It all overall looks good, and I like kind of games like kind of divers and whatnot, where it's just like we're gonna keep adding to it after launch. We're gonna keep supporting it so that you have reason to come back.
Yep.
Because if you don't do that, then you finish the game and you're like, well, bye. Like, and that's the thing, and I like it when games keep up the support. And
for sure.
So I'm excited for this. It's gonna be one of my. This is gonna be technically my third fighting game I've ever played, so this will be interesting. Oh god, it's gonna be fun. All right.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Next on our list, so Paragon released a character ability trailer, with a cyber ninja.
And so, for any of our viewers who are disappointed that we didn't shit on Battleborn when we were talking about Overwatch, Well, now's the time.
Now's the time, because they released a trailer, and even though the trailer didn't do everything that Battleborn should have been doing from day one. It showed off specifically, all right, here's the move, here's what the move is called, and here's what it does in a relatively simple format. The video's short, 30 seconds.
Right? Yeah.
And I already know how that character works. I know that the character can turn invisible, has backstabbing kind of stuff, can do evasive leaps. And I know all that from the simple trailer. Now, I would have liked it more, it would have been nice if they had, commentated it a little bit more than to just show it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I still think it was a really good trailer. And I finished it, and I'm like, this was relatively easy to make. Why haven't Battleborn? Why haven't we got this yet?
I don't get it. Honestly, some of our viewers might think that we just enjoy shitting on Battleborn, and honestly, we do.
We do. Deep down inside, we just feel all giddy with joy, and we just kick and stomp on this dead horse.
But it's just part of it is just we're surprised because a lot of this stuff just seems basic, basic, and the fact that so many, pretty much every other game does it is what just makes us wonder. Well, okay, why aren't you guys doing it? This is there was a podcast a long time ago where I went on a rant about how I felt like I was doing more work promoting Battleborn than Gearbox were. And I that hasn't changed because
what sucks about it is that if it had just been for the first couple months where we're just getting basic trailers and whatnot, and okay, whatever, they're just getting their feet, they're working on the game and less about the advertising. But it's getting really freaking close to launch, and we still haven't seen much of an improvement. We know about a lot of the characters, what they are, but we don't know how they're gonna work. We don't know what their abilities are. And it just sucks because the reason why more people are more interested in games like Paragon and Overwatch is because people know more about it.
Exactly.
The information is out there.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't have to. Seriously, there was a time with Battleborn where I had to go onto YouTube, look up Battleborn, and then filter my search to most recent stuff to find any kind of news on this game. And then they wouldn't even it. Yeah, anyway, whatever. Moving on. The Paragon also released a nice trailer detailing their card system. I'm still a little confused about it, but the basic idea I got is that it's very similar to the item system from most MOBAs.
Yeah.
You have your little deck that you play with, and then in the deck you can put in a card that heals you, a card that increases your damage, all that stuff. And then you can switch up your deck. You can there's a bunch of starter decks. You can build your own deck from scratch. You can upgrade cards, and it's a really cool system. My only hope is that it doesn't turn into pay to win.
That's my biggest issue with this system, is that it's all right, now my question right away is okay, one, how are you going to unlock characters? How are you going to unlock cards? Is it going to be two different separate things, or is it going to be you get a set of characters unlocked right from the gate? Because how this system makes me think is that it's kind of a weird hybrid of Hearthstone. You're unlocking packs and unlocking new cards and whatnot, and it also has this thing where it's it's sort of similar to League of Legends. In League of Legends, you go to the shop, and when you level up your character with money and experience, you buy items and you put them on your character, and you can upgrade them to better items, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it kind of reminds me of, except instead of having a shop with a giant list of items you could choose from, now it's okay, it's only what's in your deck that you can choose from and choose to upgrade and spend your points on, which I kind of like. It makes it sort of because this is the thing about League of Legends, at least how I play it, and Alex is going to strangle me for this, is like I just buy the same items every time. I don't really experiment them because I know what items that fit my play style and my character, and I just use them, So there's no real need for me to really buy all these other items. Like, you wouldn't want to buy a tank item for a mage, like a glass cannon mage. It wouldn't make sense. So it's kind of like it seems like it's cutting out, like, okay, you can just build specifically to what items you want. Yeah.
And overall, it seems like a really cool system. I hope they start, because right now they're still in alpha. I hope the beta starts soon.
Oh, my favorite thing about that in the trailer is that when they did the card system, they said, so they were in alpha, and they put in big, like, capital letters, the game will be broken, just so you know. This is not the final state. Like, please don't message board us and go, why is the game broken? This isn't alpha. And I thought that was really, really funny.
I can't wait for the open beta to start. And also, I really hope I get into it.
I'm curious. It's funny because now that I have an upgraded PC because of XCOM, I'm curious now. It's like, should I try again the beta, maybe for the PC or maybe for the PS4? Because I've heard that there's going to be a PS4 beta probably coming eventually, but we don't know.
We don't know yet, unfortunately.
But before we wrap things up, now we got, unfortunately, some sadder news. So the video game site Gametrailers, great website for lots of news and all kinds of stuff. Unfortunately, it closed down on February 8th, which sucked. Like, it really, really sucked. And it sucked for me especially because you may not know this, but Gametrailers, it was one of my first videos.
Oh,
really? Really. Like, before IGN, before Polygon, Gametrailers was the last like, you know, place to go.
Okay.
And sorry for once, this gave me a weird look. And it's funny because I remember going on the website when they still had their slogan. Do you remember the Gametrailers slogan?
No.
It was "Watch now, play later."
Oh my god.
And that was back when their logo was an Atari Space Invader, and it was all black. Like, I was there way back when it started, and it's crazy because just thinking that it's like, wow, this is like a big part of like my life. I spent a lot of my life watching, you know, game trailers and whatnot, and it's just it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks because it's like, you know, there's a lot of great people, and especially their retrospectives.
Yeah,
like they had a great Kingdom Hearts retrospective that I loved. It was so thorough and, you know, and fair, and of course, like their especially their E3 last year, their Shenmue, their reactions, their Shenmue 3 and FF7 remake was so good, and it's just
it's a real pity. Yeah, I loved their Warcraft retrospective. I think I actually rewatched that a couple of times. There was so many things. Like, truth be told, I don't go to game trailers as much anymore, but like back in the day, oh my god, 2006 was 10 years ago. Yeah, like between 06 and I would say 2009, Gametrailers was my main website. I used to go there a lot. The funny story actually, Jay Streets, me and Jay Streets became friends because of Gametrailers. It was okay, not directly. So me and Jay Streets have a mutual friend called Blazin Prophet. So yeah, he used to be on Gametrailers a lot, and then me and him, you know, we became friends. Then one day Blazin was playing Gears of War 2, and he was like, "Yo, come join my party." I joined my party, and who's there? None other than Jay Streets. So if it wasn't for Gametrailers, me and Jay Streets probably wouldn't be friends right now. So it is really sad. It's really sad to hear. Apparently the employees found out like the day that we found out. Yeah. So
they actually did a final like farewell stream. And it was I mean, they were all hugging a little paper cutout of Lightning, so I was a little bit soured by that. But I was like, I still enjoyed it. I liked how, like, you know, they had most of the big people there, and they all kind of signed off together. And it was just it's sad. And for me personally, I enjoyed going to their site more than like IGN and Polygon. Personally, because IGN has kind of become a little bit more of it's trying to be everything now. Like it's got yeah, I know, but it's like it's movies and it's comics and it's like I just want to watch game trailers. Like that's all I want. I don't want to watch movie trailers. If I'm gonna watch movie trailers, I'll go to YouTube. So that's why I really liked Gametrailers for that, and it was overall a really good site. And
it's a real shame to hear, and it just shows the evolution of media because when Gametrailers first started, YouTube wasn't as big as it currently is.
Yeah.
So it was a place that a lot of people went for game trailers.
Yeah.
But now because of YouTube, because of Let's Plays, because of Twitch, because of all that stuff, there really was. I mean, the only thing I went to Gametrailers for was to see their reviews of certain games. And then the other thing is that Gametrailers didn't do articles, right? So if there's no something like Doom, for example, that didn't have any footage for a very long time, Gametrailers would have no coverage of Doom because there's no footage of Doom, right? They didn't have a lot of articles on Gametrailers. I mean, I know they delved into it.
I can understand what you're saying. It's unfortunate. Like I do like the website a lot, but I guess in some ways this was an inevitability because there were just certain things that they weren't doing that other sites. I think they had articles for a little while, but they were kind of small and they were hard to find on the site. But I enjoyed them, so I was kind of like, man, it's just if they had a little bit more, it could have saved them.
Yeah.
But it's sort of just the biggest change in the industry and how YouTube has gotten so big and so many people go to YouTube for video game news and they pick their channels.
Yeah.
That going to a website like Gametrailers just became redundant.
Yeah.
So.
Because even me, the reason why I stopped going to Gametrailers was it was actually a funny reason. It was when Street Fighter 4. It was when I moved to Ottawa. Because I didn't have my console here, so I was looking for a fighting game scene.
Yeah.
Since I couldn't just play my console online,
right.
So I used to post on Gametrailers a lot. Like I used to be in the forums chatting. Don't go there, people. Well, obviously you can't now, but back in the day you shouldn't have gone there. Anyway, I digress. So I posted in there and I was like that. Is anyone here from Ottawa? And they were like that. You know what I should do? I should go to shoryuken.com because that website is really good for matchmaking and all that good stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I went to shoryuken.com. Never looked back. That was the moment where I stopped going to Gametrailers. So yeah, it's a real pity, and I hope the employees can make it through. This can't be. I mean, as much as this sucks for us, this definitely sucks a lot more for all the employees.
Like that's why that was my biggest oh man, like there's some great people like the final boss man and whatnot.
Is that who you're named after?
No. I got that nickname in middle school, in which one of my teachers go, "All right, boss man. All right, tell them how to do their job." Yeah, I got a lot of nicknames from my grade 7 middle school teacher.
Yeah, I would have thought that was like a Metal Gear Solid reference.
No. That was because what did he call me? Boss man and Sweet G Jelly Bean. I think
Sweet G Jelly Bean.
I'm dead serious.
You know that's on record, right?
Yeah. No, that's on record. Oh, trust me. There's a lot more where that came from. Why don't we get into our question of the day?
You know what? Let's hop into the question
of the day.
Okay, so we got 2 questions of the day today. One from J Streets 1983 and one from Lobster
Monk.
Yeah, so we'll start with J Streets. With the recent positive changes from a few devs as well as a lot more transparency for the consumer, would you say we enter a new platinum age of gaming? Also, how would you describe the previous age of gaming? Some of your thoughts on the age of the PS3 360. Would you like to go first, Tanner?
So we're just comparing the current generation to the generation of the PS3 and 360. Is that what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
I could probably go first. Honestly, I had a really interesting thing where it's I got into the PS3 probably maybe 2009-ish.
Kind of late to the party.
I was late to the party, unfortunately, because I didn't have a lot of money. All right, I didn't have a job, which meant I didn't have any money. So I just had to stare at the PS3 at the EB Games and just sigh for a couple minutes. So I didn't have the money, and then finally I got enough money. I sold a bunch of PS2 games, and I was able to get enough money for the PS3. And then my first PS3 game was Ratchet and Clank, and it was Tools of Destruction, and it was fun. It was really great to see the graphic upgrade, obviously, because you're used to more flat, muddy textures is what is what the PlayStation 2 was all about. So it was nice to see more crisper games and whatnot. I enjoyed it. For me, the generation was different because I had a PS3. Nobody had PS3s. I knew very few friends of mine who had PS3s. Everyone had 360.
Because most of us didn't have $600.
Yeah, exactly. By the time I got it, it was down to $400. So, but I mostly bought it. It's funny. The reason why I wanted a PS3 was because I just assumed that Monster Hunter 3 was gonna come to PS3, and then it got to the Wii, and I was like, "What the?
Why were you in for it?
What the fuck, Monster Hunter? Pick a console." But yeah, my sort of feel of the last generation is that it was just I mostly played a lot of single player games. I didn't have the social aspect. I did not talk to a single person over a PlayStation chat or anything really, and I've actually started doing that a lot more with the PlayStation 4. So I feel like idea of using consoles to communicate, play online with friends and whatnot with my PlayStation 4 in this generation more than I did in the last generation. But that could be just my friends all being on 360.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough in the sense where all right, I talked to Alex, who's been on the podcast, said you get the 360, I'll get the PS3. So that way we won't have to worry about exclusives. So I know that sounds really weird, but it's like let's say it's like, oh, there's that really good PS3 game that's exclusive, if there was one, and okay, Ratchet and Clank, right? Alex really wanted to play Ratchet and Clank, so it's like I would get that, and he would get Halo, right?
Okay.
So that was sort of that was sort of how I had the my generation with the PS3 was more about playing a lot of single player games and whatnot.
Okay.
And that's sort of how I can kind of compare it now. That it seems like nowadays there is this giant leap in towards more social aspects than there was back. And you can see obviously the 360 was the start of systems becoming more social, hanging out with friends online. But now especially in this current generation, it is all about communicating and social networks and whatnot. At least that's how I compare it to. But what about you?
First of all, because Jason was like that, would I say we've entered a new platinum age of gaming? And I think so. I think gaming has turned a corner.
In a lot of ways.
I think it has. Obviously you still have your Star Wars Battlefront fiascos and shit like that. But in general, I mean, recently we just heard a few hours ago that Ubisoft officially confirmed there's not going to be an Assassin's Creed this year. So
that's the best news I've heard all year.
So it's first of all, we're seeing a reduction of all the annualized franchises. At this point, I think the only annualized franchise other than sports games, obviously, is Call of Duty. Because the impression I got from the post was that the sales for Assassin's Creed, they weren't impressed with the opening sales for Syndicate, and I'm pretty sure they weren't impressed with the sales for Unity. So now Assassin's Creed might actually take a step back and stop being an annualized franchise. Maybe we'll see what happens with the sales of the next one, and how they move from there. But then on top of that, and I mentioned this on the podcast a lot of developers are moving towards more free DLC, you know. And I mean, even sure, a lot of people they scoff and they're like, well, Street Fighter 5 DLC isn't technically free, you still have to work for it. And I'm like, but Street Fighter 4's DLC was just not free, period. Baby steps, people, baby steps, right? You look at what CD, people were talking about how it was CD Projekt Red. They're talking about how they were like a dinosaur in this day and age, right? And at the time they were, but now almost a year later, there's so many games that have that have followed in those footsteps. Need for Speed had a bunch of free DLC. I mean, even Ubisoft games, Rainbow Six has a lot of free DLC, right? And you can also unlock a lot of the. I mean, sure, it's a pain in the ass unlocking them, but you can unlock a lot of the operatives, which was an option that we didn't even have back in the day. We just spoke about Battleborn. Overwatch. All of Overwatch's characters are going to be free. And sure, the cosmetic stuff isn't you have to unlock it, but you can unlock it.
You can unlock it. It's not like it's the option to unlock it is completely removed from you.
And then developers are keeping it real with us. They're telling us straight up. I mean, sure, they're still dropping the ball with the release dates, but outside.
I actually wanted to make a point about that. That's interesting between. Obviously, the internet has obviously grown way bigger over the years. So now it's more easy for people to spread the word of how bad your game is more than it was back in the day.
This is true.
Like
that's a very good point.
And obviously there's some games that's like I knew very soon when I bought my PS3, stay away from Lair. Whatever you do not buy Lair. Do not buy. I don't know. It might have dragons. It's not worth it. So it's funny that like nowadays it's like there's so many sources and so many places that can tell you this game's great or this game's shit.
Yeah.
And even going back to like older generations, like the PlayStation 2 era or like the GameCube era, you couldn't really do that unless you had like an article or like a magazine.
Yeah.
That was the only way to know, unless by word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth is a lot more popular now because word of mouth travels over the internet as opposed to person to person back in the day. So a game like Evolve, it had all the hype in the world, but word of mouth is primarily what killed that game, And so I definitely think we're moving into a better age of gaming right now.
Yeah.
Now, in regards to how I described the previous age of gaming, I think the PS3 and 360 generation brought a lot of good stuff. They like the social aspects that Tanner mentioned, because like I mentioned, like J Streets, I'm friends with J Streets because of the 360. I'm friends with Frazier. I made a ton of friends who I'm actually still friends with because of the social aspects of the 360. They brought a lot of good stuff, but they also brought a lot of bad stuff. Like the pre-order stuff started with the 360 and the PS3. Season passes started with the 360 and the PS3. A lot of bad stuff. So I feel like the last generation was probably a step down from the generation before it, and I feel like this generation is still bouncing back from a lot of the bad habits we picked up.
Yeah,
but I think gaming as a whole is going to be better for it.
Yes, it's almost as if on the mistakes, we make the mistakes in the past so for a brighter future, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
So we've actually got 2 questions today.
One more from Lobster Monk and.
This is a pretty straightforward question. Would you guys rather give up video games or YouTube? Ha! That's a funny question.
Oh, this is hard. That's a hard question.
Let me see. I've been playing video games since I was 5 years old. I started using YouTube in 2004. So I think that's your answer, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true, but it's like I use YouTube for everything, like almost like every single piece of content. And you could argue, well, you're not technically getting rid of video games if you watch video games on YouTube.
I don't know about that.
But there's a difference between watching video games and actually playing them.
Yeah, exactly. Because, if that was the case, I wouldn't be so mad that XCOM 2 wasn't on the PS4 because I could just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But when I watch games on YouTube is when I cannot play them.
That's fair.
And okay, like I think. Okay, I wish the question had been would we give up video games or video streaming, because I think that would be a lot harder. I'm honestly not sure.
I honestly don't. This is really hard. Honestly, as terrible as this sounds, I think I can't, because it's like, I guess I wouldn't give up video games, but man, I would be missing a lot of good stuff on YouTube.
But then you see, the thing is that even if you give up YouTube, there's still a lot of other video streaming sites to use, right?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
You didn't spend we found the workaround. Yeah. Nobody said anything about Bing.
I mean, Bing sucks, but hey, if YouTube doesn't exist, Bing is the best thing in the world.
Imagine if it's like there's an alternate universe in which Bing became YouTube. It's like, oh man, we gotta go on Bing. Oh jeez, what's your Bing account? Oh man,
Bing is such crap.
Oh, this was an amazing question.
That is a very good question. Though,
I'd probably stick with video games then.
Yeah, but if it was a choice between video games and video streaming, then I think Oh, that's actually a tough one. I don't know. It'd be a coin toss.
Yeah,
I would probably still give up video streaming just because video games have been a part of my life for so long.
Yeah.
But like video streaming, I mean, I give up video streaming, and all of a sudden, I can't watch Game of Thrones anymore. Yeah. I can't watch any of my shows. I can't keep up on the latest video game news.
Yeah, the podcast doesn't exist anymore. Podcast doesn't exist. This question breaks the podcast.
Oh my. E3 becomes I just like read articles and read descriptions. Yeah. So yeah, if it was a choice between video games and video streaming, then I definitely pick video streaming. I give up video games. It would suck, but I would still give it up. But no, video games or YouTube, easy. Stick with video games all day.
But great question.
Very good question.
So with that, I think we're gonna have to wrap things up. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And you leave a comment in the comment section. We'll make sure to answer it in the next podcast. And as always, this is William Liberty and
Fawaz Muhammad Yusuf.
And we'll see you guys next time.